Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is Sonic City Witch. And you're probably wondering, why am I doing a digital comic? Especially one you probably never heard of, at least not yet anyway. This is Sonic City Witch, #1 by Trisha Cuffari and Alex Lopez. And for those of you who have been watching my channel for a while, you probably have heard this name before. I actually did a review on Orgasm Girl by Trisha Cuffari a while back. Pretty good book. Had some flaws and some things to work on, but overall an enjoyable little read. And the reason why I'm talking about Sonic City Witch is this is her self-published book right now through her Burning Star comic company, website, etc. And it is legitimately good. And more importantly, it's available digitally for $1.49. So regardless of wherever you are in the world, you can get this great book for a very affordable price, assuming you can use PayPal, which I think most people should be able to. You know, whether you like PayPal or not is another question, but this is surprisingly good. And I have to give full disclosure here. I actually did receive a review copy of this issue, just to kind of read and give sort of my opinions on. And this, however, is not a review copy. I actually did, in fact, buy it. First off, for $1.49, this is a freaking steal. So honestly, for those guys, do I recommend? Absolutely. For what this story is for $1.49, it's a freaking steal. The other reason why is, on a personal note, I don't, and some people who may have been watching my channel and have emailed me on the side know this, I do not review books that I cannot buy. So I don't do free reviews. You know, I've always wanted to make sure I try to keep some level of objectivity when I review a book, and purchasing the book and, you know, weighing the book versus the price that it's charged at is a big part of it. That's probably why you see me a lot harsher on a lot of these crowdfunded comics than, say, you know, older comic books or, you know, even mainstream books, right? A lot of it has to do with the fact that the cost versus what you get in the book, right? And the quick review for Sonic City Witch is this book, this issue in particular, right, is actually how you do decompression. For those of you out there that are more the modern writers, what Trisha Cuffari, she goes by Dannphan, by the way, on her YouTube channel, has effectively done here is she's kind of translated the manga storytelling to American comic book format, and she's done it in a way that accomplishes, you know, basically arcing and closing subplots while keeping a overarching plot going. And it's excellent. Yes, this book is decompressed, but again, it's a digital comic that you can buy for $1.49, and a lot of stuff happens in this first issue. A lot of stuff happens. So even though she's not necessarily going to completely resolve the story in one shot, she resolves a lot of smaller story points within this issue, and it's very, very satisfying. And it easily gets you interested in the story and easily gets you hooked to go buy the next issue, which, if it's anything like this price, that's a steal. Even for digital comics. And I know I'm with a lot of viewers on my channel. I'm not a big digital comics fan, mainly because this is a very imperfect way to read a comic book in Adobe Acrobat or PDF Viewer. Even the Comixology format, I really dislike compared to an actual physical copy of a book. But, you know, economies as they are, the cost of printing, the cost of distribution, especially shipping to areas outside of the country of publication, digital comics have an enormous advantage in that area in terms of getting readership and distribution. And so for that alone, you know, and this very, very good price, I highly recommend you check out Sonic City Witch #1. It's a good book. It really is. And yeah, let's just get into it. Spoilers begin right now. So this is the cover right here. Great cover. I like these are two very important characters here. My only complaint about this issue #1 cover, these are technically not the main characters, they're antagonists. Still, such a good cover that it doesn't really matter. But I definitely, so Trisha has said that she's going to collect 4 or 5 of these issues together into a graphic novel. So for those of you who are wondering about the overarching plot, it looks like it's going to get resolved in about 4 or 5 issues, which would mean you only are spending about, what is it, $7 total to get the whole story digitally. I don't know what she's going to charge for a physical copy for those of us who are physical copy guys, but that's pretty reasonable. But these 2 characters are actually antagonists, which is interesting. So for the graphic novel, whenever it comes out, or the collected trade paperback, she might want to rethink of a different cover, even though this is awesome. This is an awesome cover. So this is great right here. I really enjoyed this, and this is basically a sort of a soft opener. Like manga does this a lot, where they open with, you know, a short blurb of text to kind of get you into the world and kind of explain the basic premise very quickly. So this is a world of both technology and witches. Witches derive their power from nature, and humans from technology and tools. And, you know, as technology has gone evolved, magic has kind of been left behind. But a cult of magical wizards, you know, led by this dude Odyssey, is seeking to claim control of everything, right? You know, story by Trisha Cuffari, art by Alex Lopez. Yeah, great stuff right here. Again, setting time, like this, I like harped about this for so many reviews, and it sounds silly, but it's so important to create the setting and set it up and introduce your characters, right? Now, there's gonna be, for those of you who like more, I guess, you know, intricate storytelling, there's something in this issue here just for you guys as well, which I'll go over, right? To get these 2 ladies causing havoc right here. Now comes the police. So I had to laugh when I first saw this, because straight up I was like, it's Major Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell. And I think this is actually on purpose, by the way. Not like a huge ripoff of Ghost in the Shell, but obviously heavily inspired by Ghost in the Shell right here. But there's actually a purpose to this character right here, which you're going to see through this issue. So she chases him down. The witches, you know, get into some car chase acrobatics, and they fight over. They're able to kind of disable her car, and you get basically a fight between the witch twins and this character's name is actually Mira. I have to stop. I almost gonna say Major Kusanagi again. I need to actually review Ghost in the Shell. That's kind of a side note right here. But yeah, no, great angles here. I really like the shots here. It's like great visual storytelling. You know, this is gonna be really nice if Dannphan Trisha ever gets this book colored, because I think there's a lot of area right here. You notice how there's so much white opening right here around the gray tones. Like a colorist could have a lot of fun, like with these panels right here. You know, don't get cocky. And then we get an interesting note right here, which is witches aren't always on the bad side. You know, here this cop has actually sort of mech witch powers, which is pretty cool. She's able to shield herself. And unfortunately, it's not enough. These 2 witches are pretty tough, and they're able to, you know, hold her down, and they're able to basically inject a virus into her head and shut her down. And in this case, you know, leave a message for the cops. And that's the cold opener. That's not even like the whole issue right there. That's just setting up conflict right here. By the way, this is great if you think about it. Like, you've basically created like a fight and a conflict and a resolution to that fight in like the first 8 pages. So, you know, and we haven't even gotten to the main story. This is just sort of excitement, right, to get you into it. So again, for those of you guys who are into that decompression style, this is another way to knock it out, right? You don't necessarily, what you can do is you can have the big story that you have planned be fed into by smaller and tinier stories that build into it, right? This is all like storytelling techniques that are really good. Yes. So we finally get introduced to this character, and this is the actual main character of Sonic City Witch. And what's kind of cool right here is you get introduced to her trying to get a job, and it's a pretty cute scene right here. And what makes this kind of work really well is immediately you kind of sympathize with her position, right? You're kind of given not only, insight into her character and her background, but you're also getting insight into the world all at once. So in a way, what Trisha has accomplished here is not only getting you into her character and getting you to sympathize with her character, but also she has basically found a way to exposition the world and do world building without dropping a freaking wall of text. Like, what's really nice about this is she's really cognizant about how much, copy is on the pages, right? She's kind of revealing, the world little by little, so she's not overwhelming the reader, right? And you do have to keep this in mind even for me, right? I'm a big fan of compressed storytelling, but, sometimes it can be a little daunting when you see a page full of text in a comic book. Just because, hey, that's a lot of verbiage right here. You could have wrote a novel. But this right here is really, really well done. So, yeah, she's unable to get a job because essentially everyone's basically augmented. They're basically androids. So it's much more efficient to hire people who are augmented with robotics and technology than those with magic. This is kind of a theme right here that in the beginning, the idea is magic and witches, something fantastical, is basically become obsolete, right? Like, technology is much better and the world is, without magic, essentially, right? And you get a lot of these very interesting things. This is like straight out of Fern Gully. There's a lot of homages in this comic book. And I actually don't mind so much because for those who aren't in the know, it still works in terms of storytelling. But those that are in the know, it's kind of fun to go through, right? Especially considering this isn't like some $25 freaking book. Honestly, this book has more story than a lot of these $25 books that I've been getting off of Indiegogo for $149 and available like immediately, so I don't have to wait a year to get this, right? So, just a great job for Trisha Cuffari, Dannphan. But yeah, no, she's seeing these people protest the destruction of the forest, and then she runs into these two. Like, you remember them? I like how they have different expressions, right? One is always kind of pissed off and grim and angry, and the other one's always excitable and happy all the time, right? And they kind of ask her to join a pro-magic organization, and she kind of recognizes them for what they are, and they're a bunch of freaking terrorists. So she rips it apart and bounces, right? And then she goes back home, and one thing I will say as a point of criticism is there's a lot of scene jumping in this book. And one thing you can tell right away, right, is that Dannphan is not afraid to use caption boxes at all. In fact, she uses them a lot in place of thought balloons. I've come to the conclusion that people just don't like thought balloons, like, I guess stylistically. But then again, this is fine. At least we get something other than dialogue, so I'll take it. And it, gets us into the world and gets us into the story, right? But there is a lot of scene jumping in this book that, isn't really explained, right? Like, you jump from here where she rips a piece of paper, and then you kind of see her go to a place, but you don't really realize it's her home till she runs into her roommate right here, right? And again, some of this is still, you have to kind of infer it, right? So, just as a note, right, like elsewhere or, going back home or something like that, right? It seems like simplistic, but I think it adds a lot to a story. Anyhow, this is her roommate. And, her roommate, as you could tell, is kind of a lazy slouch. And she basically tells her, when we're finally introduced, to Hazel, is that, hey, why do you even go out there looking for a job anyway, right? You don't even need a job. You have magic, right? And, and then you get some insight into this character, which is like, hey, she wants to be productive. She wants to contribute to society, and that's why she's going out, getting a job. She doesn't like the feeling of being useless. You get, aspects of this character that make you like this character as someone who is a genuinely good person. And for those of you out there that are really tired of, scumbag heroes or very questionable heroes, right? this is another great point right here. This is good stuff by Dannphan. It contrasts really well with her roommate, who is obviously a fan of not doing work and not contributing to society. And then you get some backstory on her too. This is again, look at how much content is in this one issue for 149. This is good stuff. You get some backstory on her, how she was saved by a police officer of the city when she was a little kid in magic school. This is great. This is good flashback. By the way, this is manga does this a lot, where they change the gutters to a different color to signify a flashback scene. So in this case, she's gradually changing to gray and then to black, right? And this is very common in the Japanese tradition, and it works really well. I think Americans can learn a lot and try to use this in their storytelling. Maybe not necessarily copy the exact style, maybe come up with a different way of doing it visually. But I think this cross, where when something is a flashback visually, I think is excellent, right? Anyhow, we get introduced to this character Keanu, who explains he's why he's helping this terrorist. We get back to Mira, who's been captured by the terrorist organization. Ghost in the Shell, God damn it. Then he explains essentially that he is, why he is helping out this terrorist organization, and really that he truly believes in their cause, and what they're doing is helping the world and reminding them, why magic is still important, etc. Right? Of course, Mira points out, hey, you guys are literally killing people and kidnapping people. I don't think this is this has gone way too far, right? And she almost gets to the point of convincing him to change till these two bitches show up and basically break this freaking love fest out. Yeah, by the way, I love this. So, the pissed off one is the one that drags Mira, I should say, away. And then the happy one gets like the psychotic face right here, as she's kind of like questioning this dude. Yeah. I know Dannphan really likes these shoujo faces. A lot of her dudes have like shoujo faces a lot of time. Like the manga style comics for girls. So anyway, we get back to the roommates right here, who are out for a walk and a little bit of exercise, which her roommate really doesn't like. Yeah, I like the artist right here, by the way, Alex Lopez. Great job. A lot of obvious homages. There's Bayonetta. And, definite, very nice exaggeration of form. I like this exaggeration. A lot of also homages to Dannphan's other comic books, right? So, and here's where this book gets very real. And I like it a lot. By the way, I've holy crap, I've gone on like 20 minutes right now on this book. And I'll try to wrap this up. I know 20 minutes is way too long for a review. What Dannphan does right here is you get the introduction to Odyssey, which is the true main bad guy, right? And Cyborg Wizard basically turns into a video camera to broadcast this to the entire city, right? And you see here's Mira, the captured police officer, and this is where everything gets turned up on its head, because in the beginning you get introduced to Mira as this police officer trying to stop these witches from doing crime and whatnot, and your initial thoughts is like, oh, okay, well, we're going to be following this character. No, she's going to get killed off. And this is the other aspect, right? It's two concepts that, people are a little bit weary of for obvious reasons, right? Decompressed storytelling and subverting of expectations, right? But here, Dannphan shows how you can get it done for both of them, right? This is an excellent twist. Like, excellent twist. And, I actually was kind of surprised when I saw it happen. So he uses her life force to cast a spell on the entire city, right? And Hazel kind of notices that this is magic, and she, realizes what's going on. This guy gets turned into a fucking tree, Captain Planet, and she's able to another reference right here. She's able to use her magic to basically create a delay on this spell, which will stop this this magic spell from basically turning the entire city, which by the way only affects metal, it doesn't affect her, into trees, right? And you know, the police officer notes this and asks her to help out, and you know, her, who's been trying to find a job the entire time, as we know, you know, gets the opportunity to help out the police who saved her life when she was a little girl. So we actually get a turnaround within this one issue. And even though we're left on a to be continued, and I know I get angry at this stuff normally, this is actually fine. I'm actually 100% happy with this, mainly because I was literally introduced so much into the world and so many other, you know, minor, you know, instances and occurrences and stories were resolved into this one little tiny issue, you know, that this is like nothing to me. I'm absolutely on board to go get the next one. This is how decompression should be done. And for those of you guys out there that don't want to buy a 1980s comic book or whatever, a manga, you know, you gotta have, you know, American style modern comic books by an independent creator, that you like, this is a freaking steal to get a comic book of this quality, right? So I know I've been kind of going on for a long time. This has been way longer than I wanted to. But yeah, I cannot recommend Sonic City Witch enough, especially for this price. You can pick it up from burningstarcomics.net. Just, you know, if you go to this one right here, just click on Sonic City Witch to start reading, and you can buy it for $149 PayPal, right? It's a PDF download. For those of you interested in Burning Star, they have their own YouTube channel, which is basically Dannphan kind of making commentary on some of her comic book stuff, mainly her kitty stuff, but still pretty cool. And then if you are just interested in general in Dannphan, Trisha Cuffari, she has her own YouTube channel, you know, obviously pretty big, where she does both comic book commentary, pop culture commentary, also covers a lot of on animation, anime, manga, etc. Anyhow, guys, that's review. Let me know what you think. If you like this review, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you have, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. If you got any comments on Sonic City Witch #1, leave it down below, and I will see you next time.